So also that'll give us hopefully just enough time to get the streaming all set up and stuff for when we actually start to kind of jump into the conversation
Yeah,
with our amazing guest Noto.
sounds good. Also, I want to say hello to Dragonade,
Yeah,
Subgeo,
that song was great,
Elbow.
man.
Hey, Nother, thank you so much. I'm really happy to share the songs. Honeycomb is about cross pollination, and it says that we live in a honeycomb. We are all bees. We all have the same nature, the same intelligence, yet we are really afraid to get stung by each other. And what we have to do is actually cross pollinate. So it's a song that reminds that, and that also goes about corruption. And I became the catalyzer of corruption in the song because I acknowledge corruption and I am able to, without blaming anybody but me, sending a message for the kids in the future. And that is the overall idea. We are sending a seed through the song. And the song is about seeding that thought that life is beautiful and that we are bees, that our nature is to collect nectar.
You know, when I was a little kid, my nickname has always been Easy or Ez, and my mom used to call me Ezzy Bezzy the Busy Bee because I just had a lot of energy. I don't know how I got so lazy in my older years, but I guess as a kid I was just like running all over the place, like a busy little bee. So that's a funny memory that just popped up for me.
Well, that's beautiful to know. I think that that is the idea of language itself, is to go back and forth on time with our emotions and that try to put them names to that language. So the fact your mother gave you that name, it means that she loves you, but that she's also really creative and funny. And I love that. Yeah, it fits that it fits you, and even that you see that you are not so active. Dude, we went in the
I
top
guess.
of a tree. We were in the top of a tree. We climbed it, and we were seeing that beautiful view with this guy, the weaving guy. I think that is just,
Charlie's
we
Web,
just we just
yeah.
we just grow, and we just feel that we are slowly because our bodies are more stronger, and our perception of time gets a little whatever, but
I
yeah, you
guess
keep the
I guess
speed,
I
dude.
am pretty busy still. It's just maybe not as like physical, but I'm definitely busy. I'm buzzing around all day long. Yeah, shout out Trizlit's here. We'll have streaming going in any minute. Oh, Penguin, nice to see you. Skirty, epic that you made it. Subgeode, always here for like, from beginning to end. And Elbow, Dragonate, of course, the Wizard of Discord. Take it away, Jose.
Nunca se empieza una batalla tarde. Las penas siempre llegan enseguida. Tú siempre pides para nunca darme. Yo solo pido lo que tú me quitas. Y el cielo que revienta de repente, como un infierno que llegó deprisa. Guerra cobarde ya nadie defiendes, pero no lo saben, pero no lo saben. Esa bandera siempre huele a sangre. Triste paisaje todo de ceniza. Distintas guerras, distintas ciudades. El mismo fuego que quemó Guernica. ¿Tú crees que estoy cantándole al desierto? Yo solo creo que muere lo que olvidas. Hay corazones llenos de agujeros, pero no lo saben, pero no lo saben. Todo lo que no se ve, lo que nadie nos contó, lo que se quedó en la piel, la memoria del dolor. Que le den al general la medalla de cartón, se la tiene que clavar en mitad del corazón. todo lo que no, 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 todo lo que no se ve, lo que nadie nos contó, lo que se quedó en la piel, la medalla de cartón que le den al general, la medalla de cartón se la tiene que clavar en mitad del corazón.
Woo!
The cardboard medal.
That was
Cardboard medal.
rocking.
Yeah, that is one of my
Very, very
favorite
rocking.
songs. Spanish music from Fito y Fitipaldis. It's really beautiful lyrics. I usually don't perform it, but today we had a special show.
Yeah, I
Nice.
wish I spoke Spanish, man. Where are you from originally?
Caracas, Venezuela. I'm right now, right here.
Oh,
Little crazy.
whoa, okay.
So this is
Thankfully,
the
the
music.
internet is
Yeah.
holding up for us. I'm very glad of that, and that you're safe. That you and your family have been safe so far. We don't have
Yeah.
to necessarily get into that if we'll kind of
Now
keep it
today,
light. We can always jump into
yeah,
it
we
as
will
well.
keep it light. Today is vegan. Today is namaste. Today is symbiosis, mutualism, co-inspiration. Today is coexistence. Today is Woodstock of the '69. Today is Bob Dylan. Today is Bob Marley. Today is John Lennon. Today is art. Today is your father, Easy. Today is just 2026, the year of the horse.
I love it. Yeah. Well, we'll hodl those vibes. And yeah, just a big welcome to everybody that's here. We just had a few amazing songs live from Jose Cabrera, Joseph Goetz. And we should be probably out now on the YouTubes and the X and over in house on Farcaster. So if anybody's listening out there, welcome and thanks for tuning in. And of course, it can be watched later as well on various platforms. I'm super excited because we have Nodar, also known as Nodes, over in the Farcaster ecosystem, who has a couple of really cool projects or products, Pool Fans and Zapper. And I definitely want to get into, the details of those and kind of how they function. But how I love to start a show is just sort of to roll it back, way back, and to ask our awesome guest, how did you get interested in technology? Everybody has kind of different touch points and stories. And I think that's a nice kind of background to share with myself and the listeners to, get to know a little bit more about your history before we kind of jump into what's happening these days.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me. Nice to meet you as well. So you mean like how I got started in the crypto space, basically?
No, we'll
Or
get
just
there.
in
I mean,
general?
like in general, like did you have a computer class in school? Was your,
I got you.
one of your parents, brother into, like, how did you first discover like technology and think, oh, this is cool? Like computers are rad. Like we'll definitely get to like, further in and how you got into Web3 and blockchain. But I always think it's fascinating, sort of roll it back and see like, when did you discover tech and like, obviously
Right.
you're working in it, so you must have, enjoyed it. So yeah, give us the story of way back when.
Yeah, well, I guess in terms of me kind of discovering my first computer, it would be back in Ukraine. So I was born in Kiev, Ukraine. I moved to New York, Brooklyn when I was 12. So, up until 12, really, I think it was, what was it? I forget even which kind of grade I got yanked out of. But it was basically a big, transition. I wasn't kind of too young and I wasn't too old, you could say. So it was like, those years when you are really, I guess, like developing close friends and whatnot. So, moving to like a new world was a big thing.
Yeah.
But even kind of before I moved over to America, my mom, I guess my parents were like, they always knew we would, I guess, like eventually end up here. So I would take lessons for, learn how to speak English, write English, and that's where I kind of discovered in these classes. Our teacher had a PC where she would kind of have some kind of basic. I don't even remember exactly, but it was like kind of like some basic stuff. All I remember is that it had some really old school game. It was kind of like something with dinosaurs, but in any case,
Oh,
right away,
nice.
kind of right away kind of wanted to get one of my own, right? And my uncle actually helped me build one because they were really, I guess, like pretty rare, I guess you would say, in Ukraine still at that time. So especially if you wanted to get like I said, like a personal, like a personal computer. I remember my operating system was Pentium 3. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, basically he helped me kind of custom build it because he was into computers himself. So it was really cool, kind of not, I guess, buying it from the store, but assembling it with him, you could say, and installing all the operating systems and whatnot. And that's actually kind of, I guess, like that's what made me also when I got started in crypto, I actually got started mining at first. I didn't like kind of like go out there and just buying stuff. I was build a miner with a couple of GPUs I had left over.
Nice.
So yeah, I was
Yeah,
yeah, I guess you could say
that's
always
awesome.
interested in technology, but also very much interested in finance. So kind of always looking for the merge
Oh,
of the two.
cool. You wound up in a pretty good spot then. Yeah, that's super cool to hear about, you and your uncle basically building your first computer. I remember the first computer in our house that my dad built with pirated like Apple chips that a buddy of his like ordered from China or something. And it was like a wooden box where all the motherboard and stuff was, and then like I think it was an Apple II monitor on top. Oh, I guess we had a Commodore. Don't know if that came before or after that. But yeah, it's cool to have like a family member, like uncle or dad or someone that is like able to do that stuff. So then you have kind of access to that at a younger age. Sounds pretty intense, like, moving over from Ukraine to the US at that kind of young age, where, like you said, maybe not too young and not too old to where you're already kind of in your, solidified in your groups and stuff like that. And are you still over in New York, Brooklyn?
So I moved not too far. I moved to Jersey about 3 years ago. That's when my son was born. So I was kind of
Oh,
I was really didn't have a need to stay in the city. I was working from home even before COVID hit. So yeah, like there was like no need to stay in the city, especially I was
with the
trying
prices
to.
there and having a kid, dude. Yeah, congrats
Yeah.
on the kiddo,
I
by the
mean,
way. That's awesome.
New Jersey prices are not like a whole lot better, but yeah, especially like the growing tax and the utility
Right.
costs here. I
Maybe a
like
little
really,
more space,
yeah,
like, but you
yeah.
pay probably similar
Oh
pricing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more space for sure. Yeah, that's number one
Nice.
thing.
Nice. Well, my second question that I love to find out, people have interesting names they go by. Nodes, I could maybe connecting sort of to nodes in a network. But if you want to like tell us how you either got given that name or how you kind of came up with your name, I know you go by Nodar over here in the X realm and kind of nodes
Yeah.
over in the Farcaster. But I
Yes.
always find those stories fun too.
Yeah, yeah. So Nora is my official name on my passport.
Nice.
It's a Georgian name. So my dad is Georgian. I was born in Ukraine, but my dad is Georgian. So I was kind of, you could say I spent half my childhood in Georgia, half in Ukraine. So yeah, it's a Georgian name. It is even for a Georgian name though, it's not like that common.
Hmm.
So I really thank my dad for that. But
Dude, it's a dope
it is
name.
kind of when I came here, when I went to high school in Brooklyn, it was not a cool name at that time.
Right, back
I guess.
then.
Yeah, yeah, and it was like, whoa, Nora, what's that? So my nickname was actually Yezdar. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, like nodes, obviously, as soon as I found out about crypto, is kind of like whenever Nodar is taking on the platform, I take nodes. And the reason it's nodes on Farcaster is because I registered on Farcaster when it first came out with Nodar, and then like lost access to
Oh,
that
dang.
account. And then I had to, when I came back this summer, I basically had to just register a new account. I mean, it was like, there was no activity there. I had like 20 followers from just like people who just
Yeah.
saw me register at that time. But yeah, like I said, like kind of Farcaster really flew over my head in terms of, you know, I kind of dipped my feet into it early on. Um, you could say just kind of checked it out. I haven't made a
Hmm.
post, but there was just so many things going on at that time, right? It was definitely like kind of like I needed to pick my battles, you could say.
Yeah.
But now, kind of over the summer, when I was kind of building this new thing with virtual trading, it was kind of a perfect fit because, yeah, a mix of
Yes.
social
And
is, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Perfect place
Well,
to,
let's
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like a good platform fit for what you're doing. So now I think would be an excellent time to kind of roll into how you got into blockchain and crypto, and because it always takes like it's either a friend or somebody that tells you, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like sounds cool, but it's
That,
probably a scam or something, and then a few more, and then you're finally
that's
like in. But yeah, how'd you wind up in
that's
this wild world?
That's kind of literally what happened to me. I heard about like I kept hearing about Bitcoin, like kind of just like in the headline, but I never even like looked into it. Right? I was like I guess like at that time I was working in the accounting industry, and essentially kind of again flew over my head. But what really made me pay attention is kind of like my good friend Mark, my now wife's birthday back in the day. He like just kept talking about ant shares. If you remember ant shares, then they became Neo.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Yep, yep.
So, and he was like, just buy some ant shares. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I was like, you know what? Fine, like I'll do it. And I put like $500. It kind of made me register for, I had to register for like Bittrex and go through all that fun stuff from back in the day. And, and then like, as soon as I bought it, like within probably like 3 days, I think my $500 like turned to like eight or 10 grand or something like that.
Dang, that's a
And
nice pump.
I was like, what is and I actually like to say this, people come into DeFi for APY, but they stay for DeFi. And that's even with my kind of financial background and like kind of this what I should have I guess you could say gravitated to before seeing any kind of price action. But that's kind of what gets the eyes on the ball, right? And that's when I really looked into it. And what blew my mind immediately is kind of I, with my accounting background, I always like was taught this double entry accounting system that we haven't changed for, I think it's like 200 years now. And to me, this was like the the next step of like the whole proof of work concept, right? To the
Yeah.
double entry accounting system, right? Like instead of just sort of relying on these on this accounting magic and a bunch of human error. And that's why they call it the double entry accounting system, right? Kind of like there's
Okay.
people double checking each other. And so, yeah, immediately
And
it kind of clicked for me.
changing, like, going back and be like, oh, we screwed up here, and like changing on whatever the in or the out ledgers. Well,
Exactly.
so you studied finance then? Is that what you like went to school for?
Yeah, I went to Fordham for like the double major, finance and accounting, which like it's pretty similar, but yeah, it's so while in school I was interning at like one of the big four accounting firms, Ernst and Young.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've heard of it, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it kind of really put me on the track to like yeah, I got like work experience, but I immediately knew I wanted to start something essentially of my own because I saw the bureaucracy of that comes with essentially a big corporation, and kind of I right away had things that I saw that could be improved, right? But in order to convince Ernst and Young, like an intern is not going to do that. So yeah, I kind of worked at a startup called Plain Guru. It was like a financial budgeting and forecasting software out in White Plains. And I got some experience there, both in terms of kind of finance and coding and also sales. So I was
Nice.
like selling these systems to mostly accounting firms. And that's when like kind of through that, that's when I started my first startup, which was CountUp, which was like kind of Uber for accounting, I used to call it, which I hate now. And but basically, I would match people with. I had like a database of 300 partnered accounting firms all around the country, and you would come in, answer a couple of questions, what you need help with, and I would match you with one of them. And
That's pretty handy. Because as a
yeah, so
layman, you're
yeah.
like, all of this is gibberish. I don't know how to get out of this like situation. I need accounting help, like to be able to go to
Exactly.
someone and
But
get set up. Is
you said it right there. People only look for an accountant when they have a situation, right? Like nobody
hmm
looks for an accountant beforehand, right? So you can't really go viral with something like this unless it's during like the tax season, right? So it's a very
right.
seasonal business. I did manage to build up like monthly subscriptions for like bookkeeping that people would like retain doing after like taxes. But taxes was what most people would do. And once again, you just as a startup, I myself thinking right now, like I like an accountant is like the last person I'm thinking about hiring right now, right? It's kind of like everyone thinks of it as it's a good problem to have. As long as there's something to account for, we'll get an accountant,
Right.
right? So, yeah, so that's why I kind of that this is where I was working on this startup and kind of hit this, I guess you could say this flat line in terms of like monthly revenue that I generated. It was like a small business, and that's when my friend told me to buy Ant shares, and as soon as like I said, as soon as I kind of just found out, like it was literally like people say a rabbit hole, but it was quite literally a rabbit hole because I just, like completely abandoned that startup and just full
Dove
on
in
like
head
look.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like I before buying anything else, I like set up a miner to mine some ETH, and that was like oh, it was already a bad time. Like I had like 6 GPUs that were pretty powerful that were all connected to this like one IKEA box, and from summer of 2019 to about like January, February of 2020, I mined probably like it was less than an ETH. It was like zero point 0.8 ETH or something like that. So, but the
Dang.
good
Yeah.
part was, when I kind of finished that mining experience, you could say I had to kind of like, I was like traveling a lot. So somebody offered to buy the rig for me for more than what I paid for it from like
Nice.
because like the hype like really went up. So I
Right.
was like, I kind of said, "Are you guys sure?" But they were like really. the people, yeah, they were like setting up like big farms, and obviously at the worst worst time.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Well,
so yeah,
so
that was
you
kind of like
got,
my start.
yeah, so you got the experience. I mean, maybe mined an ETH, whatever. It's like, back then, well, I guess it was getting maybe a little worth a little bit more
Oh yeah,
towards the end of
like
2020. That was,
like I said, I mined point 0.8 ETH, and I was reading in forums, people were complaining about mining 10 ETH per day.
oof.
They were complaining like just literally like 2 months before I started mining. I was like, dude, really? Yeah. So, but yeah,
But
obviously,
that's pretty cool to be able to get out of it and like recoup your cost. At least you didn't, like
yeah,
wind
yeah.
up
I
just
basically
going
made
bust on that.
point eight. Yeah, I basically made point 0.8 ETH, right? Because I sold the rig for more than what I bought it for, like whatever break even, and then whatever I mined was what I mined, because the electricity in my building was also included in my utility, so I didn't have to pay for
Nice.
extra
Oh yeah.
electricity.
That's nice. So okay, so you're mining 2019, 2020. You realize, maybe that's not what you want to be doing. When did you
Sorry,
sort of
I meant
start?
to say 2017.
Oh,
2017. I
27.
meant
Oh,
to say.
damn. Okay, so yeah, a
2019 is
bit
when
earlier.
I started Zapper. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, cool. So when did you, or how did you kind of think about going from, something like mining? Obviously, you have the background for finance, which is super helpful. How did
Mhm.
you sort of start to think like, okay, this, Zapper is what I want to put my time into, and kind of how did you,
It-
figure that
y-
out and get it started?
Yeah, no, for sure. So like I said, like as soon as I kind of did my research, started mining, I obviously there was that whole ICO craze during the summer of 2017, basically, and I ended up investing in a bunch, because what really excited me was kind of like looking at these new projects and new experiments that they are planning on doing in finance, right? So
They all had white papers back then. Like, I mean,
yeah,
you'd actually read,
yeah,
you'd be like, "Oh, this is so cool. This is so exciting."
yeah.
I didn't have much, but I was dumping maybe like 100 or something into like a bunch of different projects because I was like, "Oh, they've got vision. Like, they sound like they know what they're doing." Luckily,
Yeah.
I didn't have more money at that time to put in, but it was, it was little bits across a bunch of different projects just because, I thought like, this stuff is just amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess, or fortunately, I did have a little bit more money to put in. So, especially as I kind of like as I just, like discovered this space, you could say, right? It's just like really fresh, and I knew I wanted to build something, but I didn't know what at that time still. So, what I started seeing is all these DeFi protocols, literally starting from Uniswap, MakerDAO, Compound. They started launching, and what I started doing is making tutorials about them, each one. Because I was even having a hard time at that time convincing my best friends to kind of try out these DeFi tools, especially like something like MakerDAO, right? Kind of like, hey, it was like it was like 0% borrow
Mhm.
on die back in the day. So it was like free real estate, they used to call it. And yeah, I was just kind of really, I saw the hurdle that DeFi was having in terms of like onboarding. Even like I said, like people like my friends had strong financial backgrounds, and I had to like really convince them to try it out. So I literally registered. I remember DeFiTutorials.com.
Nice.
And they started making these tutorials, and that's how I also met all these like founders, right? Like Hayden from Uniswap, and Robert from Compound. Really, like kind of all these early builders came from Synthetics, so it was really valuable to, obviously make a tutorial, but most valuable was kind of like um, get like yourself familiarized with all these mini communities, right? That were popping up, and right away, like in the Web 2 world, I was a heavy user of Zapier tool. And as I saw these DeFi protocols, more of them launch and launch, I figured like this is only gonna ramp up, right? And what I'm seeing is people are never using just one DeFi protocol. They're always using multiple, especially once you discover one. There's no way you're just gonna use one, right? Like you're hopping between multiple, and obviously as
It gets messy.
kind of ecosystem developed, it got more and more messy. Yeah, exactly. So, well, number one, you have to get used to all these new UIs, and number two is you have to do all these separate transactions, right? And back in the day, it was, like to open up a MakerDAO vault, it was like 7 transactions you needed to do, right? Like to what takes one now, right? Like kind of just deposit your ETH
Yeah.
and take out what you need to borrow. But back in the day, it's a kind of approval, creating like a separate vault for yourself, and then it was literally 7 transactions. So right away, that's why I saw something there. So I wanted to hack the initial zaps that would basically take your money and split it into like 50% would go to savings account on the compound and 50% will go on a Uniswap pool, right?
Nice.
Which also in itself, like kind of back in the day, explaining a Uniswap pool to people was another huge challenge, impairment loss and stuff like that. But I just actually retweeted recently. There was 6 years. Uniswap even gave us kind of like a shout out back in the day
Nice.
when we launched this CDAI Pools app, where it kind of helped you save a lot of steps, a lot of transactions, and people didn't need to think about that they need to come in from with a 50-50 essentially asset ratio. But what really made us stand out, what kind of that's when Hayden invited me to his office in Brooklyn to hang out and kind of see what we could build next. Was when we launched. So like the big problem was when people were entering these 50-50 pools, right? They were giving up half of their ETH exposure, and then risking the impermanent loss. So what we came up with is there is another tool called Fulcrum, I believe. Yeah, it was it helped you. Basically, it was like tokenized leverage positions, right? So you don't need to like register anywhere. You don't need to have like a smart wallet anywhere. You could just tap a smart contract and get back a tokenized leverage position that you can then either close or hold. So what we did was we put half of your assets, actually 66% of your assets into a Uniswap pool, right? So say you're coming in with 1 ETH, we're pointing 0.6 into a Uniswap pool, which means that out of that 0.6, 0.3 will need to get sold, right, into whatever the pool that you're entering, right? So you're losing 0.3 exposure ETH. So what we did with the remaining 0.3 ETH is we did a 2x leverage position, right? So kind of giving you that extra 0.3 exposure. So what this did is actually on the way up, it completely eliminated your impairment loss. But actually on the way down, it doubled it. It doubles it. So it's again, it's a way for you to, if you're one of those basically that believe that the price will only be going up, you could have banked on the price going up and getting fees on top. So of course, these tokenized leverage positions, like there were like later like hacked and because there was like some issue when the flash loans came out, if you remember. So the flash loans broke those things, and this is why, like, if you notice, up until this day, there are no tokenized leverage positions, right? There's only, a place where you come in and have to do everything through their smart wallet, right?
Yep.
You never,
Interesting.
When you're buying a leverage position on one of these platforms, you're just sending ETH somewhere. You're not getting anything back. You're not getting back, 10x or whatever token position.
That's interesting. I mean, I haven't done much leveraging, just because I'm generally more on the cautious side. But yeah, super
I've done it
interesting.
all. I've done it all. I've got liquidated everywhere. So yeah.
I'm
But yeah,
plenty of trader friends
yeah.
that have, and I'm like, okay, I'm just slowly but surely, hopefully. Nice.
Um, yeah.
Okay, so now give us a little kind of rundown on, on Zapper and what we can do over there these days.
Yeah, so I guess like where I left off of was basically hacking these apps. I originally launched them through this Kyber virtual hackathon
Mm-hmm.
in November 2019. And I really, came into the space with like no coding background. Like I didn't know how to do Solidity. I just kind of knew I had an idea what I wanted to do. I was able to kind of like dissect all the on-chain transactions and Etherscan and whatnot, but I couldn't code up with the smart contracts myself. So I just literally reached out on Discord, like, hey, if I'm looking for help here, and Deepesh reached out for me from Singapore within like 5 minutes, and we like started working right
Nice.
away because he had an accounting
Dang.
background himself. So we kind of immediately clicked. We started working together. The deadline was in like a week. I kind of also found out about it like last minute. Well, not last minute, but like it was like a 2 or 3 month long thing, and basically like the last week or two, that's when I came in, and we ended up taking number one place. They gave us number one
Dang.
place,
Nice.
and
Dude.
rewards in in Kyber token. So right away, that obviously gave me the verification I needed that hey, this is something that obviously the space needs, that people
People
would
want.
use.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that like kind of it wasn't already available, I guess you could say. But yeah, like it was so much that people were doing, building all these infrastructural pieces that absolutely, when you're in it every day, you develop this bias, and you're like thinking that everyone in the world should understand your UX and UI, and why is anyone having any problems using it, right? So yeah, making DeFi. My thing when I participated in like 2 months after that, they invited me in for judging ETH Denver in
Nice.
2020, and I started my talk with DeFi is difficult to use, like with a
Well,
slide. So yeah.
and especially like you were saying, if back when it was like 7 transactions just to like get into an LP or something, and if you were newer, every one of those was like a nail biting experience. So who wants to go through that much stress, like double, triple checking, every address? And it was just like, in the early days, it felt pretty overwhelming to do that many steps to get, whatever, a little bit into a pool, and then hopefully it does, you're not losing money on it, you're making money. But if it was a small amount, like for someone like me back then, it was small amounts. And then if gas shoots up, which it would when everybody was busy and things were, going strong, then you've got this huge gas fee to pay on all these transactions to try and get your profit out. And by
Oh
that
boy,
time, you're like back to what you put in.
man, yeah, you know about that side fees, that what the fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I never looked over there because
Oh,
yeah,
fuck me. No, that
I
was the
I
worst thing
was
I ever did. I haven't looked.
oh
I haven't looked since like it came out, whatever, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, or something. I remember looking. I was like, that much ETH? No. And then
man,
yeah, I just
because
was like, I'm never checking it again.
when I was testing stuff, when I was like really kind of like doing a lot of they would call it back in the day test and production.
Hmm.
So ETH was like $100. I remember like Black Thursday went to like $80. It was like a couple $100, and it's. I remember I was even whoever like had a failed transaction. I would watch like every like Zap transaction. I would send them their gas fees back, and
Oh,
and then
dang.
some, so they could like try it again. I was like
Nice.
really. I really thought like yeah, that, like obviously like gas was like a hurdle for folks. So like I really um try to like bring more of these newer, fresher folks who wouldn't get pissed about like their transaction failing and them having to say, oh look, you know, I thought you guys were supposed to be better than their credit card transaction fees,
Right.
but here I am like wasting. And then yeah, like you said, like when the gas went up, yeah, like closing or you know topping up your MakerDAO vault. Yeah, I I spent you know a good chunk on
I can
just
only
that.
imagine being, doing like building and testing and all that. Yeah, probably way more transactions than I was doing back then on ETH, which was still wound up being way more than I thought.
And back then I was thinking about it like, oh, you know, it's just like kind of if those costs stayed, you know, stayed like that, that would be cool. But you know, they obviously kind of ballooned. But you know, I feel like you know through these airdrops because I was testing from like literally I had like 50 something MetaMask wallets that I don't know
Damn,
for what
nice.
reason doing these pulls through, and then basically like when the Uniswap airdrop happened alone, right? Like all the like liquidity providers got an airdrop, so. You know, I feel like the space pays for itself if you are willing to invest in it.
Yeah, yeah, being active and consistent definitely has paid off. As long as you don't get, hacked or socially engineered, and then, that wallet's gone. Like I had one of those happen to me, and I actually, yeah, it was like one of my main kind of airdrop wallets, and like what was it, my uni. I had a bunch of Polygon in there. Now it's been a few years, so I don't even remember. But yeah, that was a painful day. They got me
And yeah.
through a Discord help bot that they snuck into a community. Uh, and it was an OG community. I'd been there for years, and I was like, oh, I need some help. And like they snuck in a help bot and just like did a couple transactions, and then got this weird feeling and like went back to the Discord and like DM some of the actual people, and they're like, "We don't have a help bot." Like, and I'm like,
Oof.
"Fuck!" And then I'm running to like revoke and like revoking as fast as I can, but they had already hit me
Yeah,
for
nah,
a
yeah.
pretty good amount.
It,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
it's instant. Once that happens, it's instant. And
yeah,
I actually
yeah.
I was also like I was, you know, I was that was like my number one biggest fear. I was why like yeah. And you know, like you say, I got into space in 2017 and literally last year it happened to me on I was on a team stand up, just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like blabbing on with the team and somebody mentioned some airdrop and I kind of quickly googled it, went on the site, click sign, and like obviously thank god, like it was just like a hot wallet. It was just like not that much money comparatively speaking at all, but yeah, it was still like, you know, I was just like amazed at my own self. I was like, how did I just do that? I
Dude,
was like,
exactly. But I
after all
think it
this time.
happens. Yeah, it
Yeah,
happens to like anybody and everybody pretty much. Even like a security expert, like it's like super late or early in the morning and you're just like, "Oh,
human
this is
error is
something
always
I
there.
kind of
Yeah.
normally do." Yeah, and it's like that one time when you're not paying as much attention. Yeah, so now I'm freaking way overly cautious probably and might miss out on things, but I'd rather miss out on some airdrop or a couple free NFTs than lose a bag. So I just avoided a couple scams this weekend. Like I'd been, a couple people over on Twitter had been trying to get me to come and like be on their shows for a while, and I finally like agreed. Because they, I'll look at accounts and stuff. They had a lot of like mutual friends and stuff. But then, when it comes time for it, and it's like StreamYard, and I'm like, I'm not really down with StreamYard. I'm like, send me the link and I'll take a look. Just glancing at the link, I'm like, that's not from StreamYard. It's like StreamYard slash N dash what. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, okay, not even touching it. Like, screw
Mhm.
you. But yeah, just it's you got to be safe out here in these virtual streets.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Okay, so I think we're getting up to like what, probably like now we're into the 2020s. maybe?
Yeah. So basically, as soon as people use Zaps, what I was gonna say is just kind of like what you touched upon is, it was hard to dissect where to go to even check your balances, right? So a lot of times people would use Zaps, and the assets and the exposure they would get in return would not reflect on like their MetaMask, right? Or
Hmm.
in January 2020, Seb launched DeFi Snap. So DeFi Snap was basically the front end for DeFi Zap right away is kind of how I saw it, right? So,
Hmm.
and it was like DeFi Zap, DeFi Snap. So, we started talking with Sub right away. I loved what he was doing. He was, putting out a new integration every day as new DeFi protocols came about. So we decided to essentially join forces, and that's how Zapper was born, right? So,
Awesome.
um, you know, we were lucky enough to kind of have Andre from Yearn, if you remember. If you remember him, I mean, yeah, like I was
I remember
introduced to
your.
him. Yeah, so I was introduced to him before he built Yarn, and he, he came into the space like in a really humble way, essentially saying like, "Whoa, like you guys did such great like work with Zap, so you guys did all the heavy lifting already. Uh, well, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna basically use these apps as the pipes and create, auto rebalancing, yield generating robot on top, right? So he would make, and that this is where Andre shined. He had the finance background and very strong coding background. So he was able to, I would chat to him with him on Telegram before I went to sleep, and I would do. I mean, who are we kidding? Nobody would wait. Nobody would really go to sleep. But yeah, like he would have stuff ready, like contracts ready that he was already playing around with on production within a couple of hours, right? So,
Dang.
uh, and at that time there was no, unless he was using some early version of ChatGPT. At that time there's none of that. I wish
Yeah.
there was, because that would be really cool.
Yeah.
um,
No,
but yeah,
pre vibe coding that was just people's freaking genius. Like, it takes a certain kind of mind
yeah,
to be able
especially
to
like,
think that
yeah,
way.
exactly, dissect all that's what's happening on chain, because the everything is there. It's just a matter of massaging the data and analyzing and taking the right pieces, because there's just so much of it. And but it is all there. It's a matter
Right. Right.
of
Access and
using it
then
using
kind
it
of,
the right way.
yeah, parsing what's useful to you and your product,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, kind of how to make it work for you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it was definitely like that was some of the most exciting time of my life, basically building, because it was literally like a Cambrian explosion of these experiments, and that's what I kind of got sad about when it kind of turned into from finance experiments to more into like food farming and meme stuff, where
Right.
it's yes, there's still like cool things that are being kind of experimented on, but there's a lot of this like BS, right? That a lot of good people that come into the space that get burned and they never want to look at it again. But
Yeah.
um,
I feel like for
really,
me,
really, they should.
it was kind of like the Clubhouse era when we got this huge influx of new people, but also just a lot of like bullshit. A lot of like, influencer kind of vibes, and like, I don't know, it just things, and
A
maybe it
lot
was
of
even before
experts,
that things
experts.
shift. Right. Yeah. Experts. Yeah, sure. um, but yeah, so I mean, and then of course, the NFT kind of craze came and sort of went. Um, which was, exciting, fun times, but it wasn't necessarily, the focus wasn't on, I think, like the value that NFTs can bring. There was just this crazy hype cycle for, whatever project happened to be, get the hot, tweet on, and, a giant room full of people happened to be there, pushing it. So yeah, kind of wild times for a bit there. I don't know. It feels like now things are sort of maturing a little bit, although meme
Well,
coins, are
yeah.
ridiculous,
All
and a
right.
lot of
Well,
people
I
still get
think
liquidated.
yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's kind of like with each cycle, we're going through this motion where the next cycle of investors is now requiring more work from the projects, you could say, right? So like in the ICO days, like you said, like yeah, you could just, put out a white paper and that's it. Like, as long as it looks smart, like that's it.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
a picture with Vitalik, and that's it, you're good. Um, but yeah, like once people saw through that, right, went through that cycle, and they realized that hey, obviously we can't be giving $200 million based on a white paper, right? Like let's dial it back here. Let's now kind of require a little bit more due diligence from them, right? So
hmm
this is where people now start building websites and communities around them, and and I feel like it's really all moving towards um, more towards like if you want to be here for a long time, like long-term sustainability, you need to generate some kind of value, right?
yeah,
Whether it's
yeah,
through trading fee activities, right, which is like the number one, revenue generator within our space, right? Like let's say it was, fees from swaps, endless swaps, to fees that come from, people trying to, get bigger leverage, more exposure, right?
hmm
So, but there's more and more, um, I guess you could say, revenue sources, revenue streams that are getting built out by people, by teams, right? So one of the really clear different ones, I guess you could say, is like daily QR auctions, right? That
yeah.
you know generate fees that essentially is kind of like like on-chain marketing
Every
space.
day,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah, every
every
day.
like when I first kind of saw QR, I mean, I guess when they launched, I was like, damn, now that's actually a good idea. Like this has something to offer and has people bidding on it every single day. And then the winners have that exposure and the project gets income. And it's not every, few and far between come up with something, especially maybe newer and innovative, that actually kind of has that balance, that seems to be something that could be sustainable.
Exactly. And it's simple too. It's dead simple, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of times, actually, people try to really overcomplicate it. And actually, I remember one of the, back in the day, one of the like prominent investors, like back in the day, basically sent me an email after we won the hackathon, saying like, hey, like they didn't need to send this email, but they said something like, and I tweeted about this too. It's like, hey, this is like such a like simple like contract. I could fork. You could be forked tomorrow, right? Like I could do this in the week, in the weekend, right? And I was like, whoa, like. Clearly we kind of maybe stepped on some toes of a project
Well,
that they invested in, right? That we're trying to overcomplicate things, and that's
right.
exactly when you end up in the ditch, especially when it's like it's hard to just educate this new quote unquote wave of users, like
Yeah.
you know, and you're throwing at them 7 transactions that you're gonna expect them to do, right? So, yeah. In any case, it was just really, really kind of interesting also to see that even like the prominent investors that think that they're prominent today, right? Like tomorrow, the market could slap you with the reality check. So, I was also kind of saw SBF, come about, and we had investors who are also our investors who invested in him, and were talking
Dang.
high praise about him.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so yeah, in retrospect, yeah, it's oh yeah, of course, well, we should know, but like, yeah, it's hard to keep keep your head cool as all this FOMO is
True.
happening.
Very true. Very true. Having like, you guys just, I think, in that time when you were building, had a clear vision. It wasn't too complicated. And so, it works. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just lucky I didn't get into FTX because I was like, that guy just has a bad, I don't know. I just like, I had a bad feeling, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of like, doesn't seem legit to me. Not that I had any foresight of like, oh, this is gonna go down. I was just like, I'm not gonna touch that. Like, for me, I was just, and I guess people maybe got their funds back
What?
now
Yeah,
from that, I think.
exactly. I guess like once you start using like the real DeFi tools, and even though like they might not offer you the same speed or the same better fees or whatnot, um, it feels more like not only that you're in control, but it also kind of feels more like a real game, right? It feels more
Right.
like you're actually playing with your peers who see everything, and nothing is a black box, almost, you could say, right? So yeah, to me that
And I
was,
was,
yeah,
yeah, I was just used to like Uniswap, and like, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna just
yeah.
kind of stick with the few platforms that
Uniswap,
I know.
like the smartest, projects in our space, like they don't, they make something super simple, and they also like utilize the existing kind of infrastructural pieces. That's what kind of DeFi is all about for me, like Lego pieces. They even used to give out those hoodies back in the day, on the Denver. But yeah, it's like Uniswap is, it's taking kind of all the existing ideas that existed, but mixing them up in a way that creates a brand new financial instrument, a brand new use case, that wasn't possible in Web 2 because of like X, Y, and Z black box, right? Like
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
this, you know,
It was
all these
majorly gate
features.
kept too, like,
Yeah.
finance in general. So, um, uh,
Yeah.
blockchain and, DeFi has really opened it up to just the everyday people, otherwise I wouldn't be able to be here. Like, um, and we got people, the chat's been rolling, which is cool. Talking about how the use of L2s helped us grow. Shout out Llama, shout out Louis Baby out there in the chat. And we got Penguin from Azos, who was on a couple weeks ago. He's hanging here with us as well. They're talking about different yields and whatnot. So we got, I think the local audience here is definitely enjoying this.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So what does kind of like Zapper look like these days? What are you guys focusing on? And then I definitely also wanna, if hopefully you have enough time, I want to get in a little to pool fans as well.
Yeah, and pool fans is what I'm mainly working on these days, like full time. Right now, like Zapper, as I'm sure you saw, they launched the client for Farcaster, which I think has
Mm-hmm.
been pretty smooth. It sucks the mobile app is still kind of going through the approval, with this
Mm.
like ridiculous app store approval process. But in any case, like I myself, I don't like to add on even more apps to my already super cluttered phone.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, like the web app is really smooth. Has a a really good focus in terms of combining your social elements with your DeFi actions, right? And kind of you seeing what your friends are doing in DeFi, you're seeing what they're participating in, and there's like more and more integrations that are getting built out, but mainly around the prediction markets, trading, NFTs, essentially
Nice.
all your main DeFi activities that you would be doing. And yeah, like I think Farcaster was obviously, at first it kind of came really slow, but now it has, I feel like enough of a enough of a power to really make the use of both of these, right? Like I've seen Farcaster maybe even get some hate for like fully focusing on like trading and coins now, but
Mhm, mhm.
let's face it, kind of you need DeFi to survive, right?
Oh yeah,
And this is what Farcaster, I feel like if anything was built for, is kind of combining the two, right? And
totally.
eventually making it into like the account that you're building out as sort of like your social DeFi credit score, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
we
yeah.
just had Ruminations on, I think it was last week, who's built
hmm
Quotient,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah,
was a
yeah.
great,
I've spoken to him.
super
Yeah.
awesome to have him on. And so yeah, these things tie together now, and I think we're coming into like some really cool, interesting times for being able to, have your kind of social network more connected to and more visible. And Farcaster is a great place for this to trading and sort of getting signals and like the things
Yeah.
like QR or
And this
tip
is why
in.
we, yep, yep. This is why we, like decided to double down with Clanker, right?
Nice, yeah,
And it was, I guess, happy to like I kind of made the decision to double down on Clinker before they got acquired, right? So
yeah,
I guess that's a good sign. And
yeah,
yeah, like it's I think yeah, Dish obviously made a really good choice going with Farcaster. It's basically a Farcaster native mini app, and it's not mini app; it's a whole launchpad system. So I think yeah, I think all the tools are in place, and like especially as more people and projects decide to like launch tokens that represent something that they're building real value around on, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's kind of where we want to lean in and help the creators, right? So this is where
Awesome.
we you know started with tokenizing the creator rewards that you're getting from trading fees for your Clinker token. And we have a bunch of tools that we built out, once you tokenize your fees, right?
Hmm.
So right now, when you are creating a token on Clinker, you could select your creator rewards in terms of how you're receiving them, whether you want
Right.
to receive the extra fee in WETH, like your Clinker token, or both, or you could do a
50-50.
mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do a mix of whatever you want to do. But once you do that, you essentially sign a wallet that claims those fees, right? Like
Yep.
as swaps happen, right? And you could tap in anytime to the locker to claim those.
Yep.
But only those people, the recipients, right, of those fees can do that. So what we did was we tokenized that part of it. So what I mean by that, right, because I know it's kind of like, oh, tokenize, it's
Right. Tokenizing
sounds
the
sounds like
tokenized
sounds like a
token.
cool term, but what it really means is we're setting up a Vault smart contract that is now the recipient of your fees. So instead
Hmm.
of some EOA wallet coming to claim them, think of it as it's this vault that will claim the fees. And now under this vault, we issue 100 tokens, right, that represent your claiming rights. So you
Hmm.
could, just by holding these tokens, right, you come into this Vault smart contract and you could claim the fees.
Right.
And, you could obviously now using those 100 tokens, you could now split it up however you want to, right? In terms of, not just one recipient, but that's just a really simple, dumb use case around it. What we've created is multiple kind of avenues for you to utilize them. So number one is, which I'm pretty kind of excited about because it's like a unique type of a staking pool. So, typically when you have a staking pool, you have, hey, stake fans to get more fans, right? As
Right.
rewards. And that just creates inflation. So you just, you set up a pool, you just throw some fans in there and people just, come in, stake, and basically get proportional of those fans. What we did was we set up a staking pool where you can come in, stake fans, and earn the trading fees from fans during the staking duration. So me as a holder of tokenized fees, the 100 tokens, like I mentioned, that I minted, that represent my fee claiming rights from the vault, what I could do is now put, say, 50 of them to a staking pool that is created for a defined time, say 1 month. And now for 1 month, you're saying that, hey, I'm routing 50% of the fees to this staking pool. And now anyone
To
who
be divided
stakes,
between that pool. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like
Nice.
real revenue that people are generating, not just
Now,
token inflation. Yeah.
yeah. Quick question. When the pool ends, is that automatically going back to the addresses that put it in, or people have to come and claim, or?
You mean the people who staked?
Yeah. So if I go and
Yeah,
I
it's
stake,
like a typical staking experience, right? So you come in, you stake, and say there's 10 swaps that happen that earn the X amount of fees. So you have this claimable fee amount that keeps going up that you could come in and claim at any time, right?
right.
Just like from any staking pool. So yeah, you would need to, I guess, yeah, like you need to come in and claim. You could claim anytime. And then as a owner of the staking pool, right, I deposited 50% of my fees. I routed them. Once the period ends, I can withdraw them back from that pool and now route them to a new pool or use them with some of our other tools. So another tool we're actually introducing is fee automation tool. So this is something that the Clinker team does right now, essentially manually themselves. So, when you say you have a fee that comes in as WETH, and you want to, every time you make a claim, you want to actually convert it into Clinker token, right? So you could set up an automation where, hey, route again whatever percentage of my fees to this automation, and now every time I claim, I'm going to claim my WETH rewards and they're going to be swapped into whatever I want to be swapped to right away, immediately. And it could also be
Nice.
something like, hey, I'm claiming WETH. Instead of just claiming WETH, why don't we just put it into Aave deposit, like for some minor staking at least, while it's there. So yeah, it's kind of like allowing you to set up these automations in case maybe you even set up, initially you said, hey, I want to receive all my fees in WETH, but you actually want to change that to
Nice.
say WETH and something else. So you could like split that up if you want to. Yeah. And then the one I'm really excited about would be a time wrapper, where it's kind of like what I mentioned to you to staking pool, where as a creator, right? Like what we realized right away is as a creator, right? I don't perhaps never want to give up my revenue part of my revenue creator fee rewards forever to someone, right? It's kind of like what was the guy's name, O'Leary from Shark Tank taking
Oh,
taking a
like,
cut
yeah.
taking
Half or 60% of your shit forever. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, forever. So what we're really focusing on is really making these tools. So like this time wrapper where you can, say, hey, 20, you could wrap 20% of your fees for a day or a month or a week or whatever the time frame is. And what you're doing is you're locking them up for that time frame, and what you're getting in return the wrapped to, representation of those tokenized assets, tokenized fee streams. So now you can send these wrapped tokens to people, right? Maybe as incentives, maybe as you want to just sell them directly to like an investor who wants to invest for your fees for the next year or something. Or just literally, like I said, we're actually going to experiment with the Rips app, where those free Rips that people usually
Oh yeah.
get, and they usually just get a token and a lot of times just dump it, right? Here, what you're going to get is wrapped tokenized fees that will give you rights to a portion of our trading fees for a day or whatever the time frame we decide.
Cool.
So instead of kind of at the same time educating them about like what's actually happening, because this is like hard concepts to like grasp for like your day-to-day users. And while at the same time, like we want to like show them the value behind it, right? So like, hey, if you rip something, instead of getting like half a cent of some token, you get 1% of the trading fees for the next day, right? So, and if a trading fees generator is $100, right, then you get $1, right? So,
Nice. Yeah.
just kind of obviously just quick simple case examples, but something that will allow people to like feel the value and feel where it's coming from, and get
That's cool.
themselves like more educated about like the whole flow of things. So I
Yeah.
really excited to kind of get that out through the Rips app, because one, it's not, if you think about it as a creator, it's not costing me my own token. I don't have to spend my own token, right? I have
Right.
to like
Right.
provide
You're
people with
giving
free token.
future fees basically
You're getting
there.
future
So you're
fees
not out
and
of pocket
aligning
per
people.
se. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
And it prevents people from dumping, and it aligns a whole new set of people to be perhaps incentivized to bring you activity, right? So,
Very cool. Yeah.
if you're starting all the time, oh hey, like 1%, but if I invite all my friends over and we increase the activity, then there's going to be a lot more fees, and there's going to be a lot more worthwhile.
For sure. For sure. Someone was asking for links, so I'm gonna jump over here into Farcaster and I think I'll snag your profile to share, because I'm pretty sure on your
Our site is pretty
profile,
simple though, pool.fans.
pool.fans. Okay. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
write pool.fans real quick in a tab here and copy and paste that for people. In fact, I'll put it in the chat right here. Very cool. And then it's tokenizer, right? Where you're doing the pool.fans.
Yeah, exactly. So the tokenizer is like the like the primitive maker, you could say. So it's like the main tool you use to generate these tokenized representation of revenue streams. Right now, the revenue stream is tied to Clanker rewards because it's very well defined. It's all programmatic, and we were, like I said, when we set up those vaults, we're not adding on any sort of like when you're claiming the fees, you're still claiming them from the Clanker fee locker. And we got our contracts audited by the same team
Right.
that audited Clanker contracts, 0x Macro.
Nice.
So yeah, it was it was a really perfect use case. It's something that kind of like immediately was like a glare to me as soon as we clanked our own token, right? So yeah, through our UI, you could actually, clank as well with tokenized fees built in from the start. And we are using, once
Nice.
again, when you deploy, you're doing the same thing, everything as you would on Clanker. But in addition to deploying your token, you're also deploying the token that represents your tokenized fees. And if you're doing 3 different asset types for your tokenized fees, then you'll mint 3 additional tokens, right? So, clinking could mean minting 4 whole tokens, not just 1.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
this is
definitely
where,
an
the main
evolution.
product. Yeah, exactly. So it's like right now it's like I said, this revenue stream is from trading fees, but we are already working with Product Clink to
Nice.
essentially tokenize, like I told you, like same thing with the QR auctions, but here it's the app of the day auctions. So
Mm-hmm.
every day there's like you could be a top spot for the app of the day, kind of like Product Hunt for Farcaster,
Nice.
if you've seen it.
Nice.
And so for 3 months, what we're setting up is like for 3 months, you will be able to like all the fees from the daily app of the day sales will be going to this vault, right? And accruing for 3 months. And people are not going to be able to claim them anytime, right? It's
Nice.
something different. Uh, but basically what happens at the end of the 3 months, whoever is holding a token that represents essentially the fee claiming rights, would proportionally claim the whole pot. So it kind of it's a little
Oh,
bit different because it gets to build up for 3 months, and we're gonna create a market for the tokenized fees themselves. So like the tokenized fees will be represented by a Clinker token, right? Not the way we're doing it right now, where you
wrap
might
them. Yeah.
already. Exactly. So basically, we'll set it up in a way where for 3 months people will be able to trade this market and essentially predicting or anticipating whatever the final amount will end up on, right? And then say, for example, there's at the end of the 3 month period, right? There's 50 billion tokens that are staked, and you have 5 billion of those tokens. It will give you rights to 10% of the pot, right? So
Nice.
if the pot at the end of the month is at the end of the 3 months is say 10,000, 10%, 1,000 would be your claim.
Pretty cool. And also definitely incentivize, riding that out. Um, Interesting. Nice. I like.
Yeah, we really want to kind of again align builders and users and like whatever future other participants to really always think from day one about the revenue, because that's what's gonna really help them sustain and stand out from the crowd, right? Like if you are generating real revenue from whatever value it is that you provide, then that's it, right? And if you're not, then that means something's wrong, quite
Yep.
honestly, right? So you should constantly be thriving for achieving that, providing something to people that they find valuable and are willing to pay you for it, right? Essentially, at the
Totally.
end of the day, that's what it is. Yeah.
Nice. Well said. Yeah. I'm still sharing links with people. For anybody out there, I'm also putting these links in the event links, so you won't have to like go back through chat or anything if you want to come back to look at any of these uh, valuable links here. Awesome, man. I know we've kept you for a while. Anything else, that we didn't cover that you wanted to share?
Um, no, I mean, I definitely think like I spoke a lot. I hope I didn't confuse people too much. But I guess yeah, one of the last things I would mention is the fact that like we do look forward to kind of expanding to and experimenting with other revenue streams besides just trading fees.
Mm-hmm.
And but one of the problems we also notice in the space for specifically for tokens who already clanked, right? Like you already
Yeah.
launched, right? And so we want to help them essentially set up additional clanker styled LPs post clank, right? So
Right. Because
um,
if you have an old clanked token, you didn't have all these options. Basically, it was just like a wallet address where you could go and
Exactly.
collect fees. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, and it's not even if you have like say like a new version like ours, right? As the project, I guess like grows in different stages, you want to provide the additional liquidity, you know, in specific additional spots. So like one of the things I would always recommend is kind of like for you to, I guess like do as much of a creator vault lockup as possible, because then you can use
Mm-hmm.
those tokens, right, to create additional LPs post clink, right? Like so instead of kind of obviously having to buy those tokens, I think it would be a good justification, good use case for them, like further down the line, right? So, yeah, kind of creating better, more efficient, you know, swapping or avenues for your users would ultimately create more activity, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And that would generate more creator rewards for you. So, yeah, like again, like always, kind of circling back to what can we do as builders to really not just like hey like buy our thing and hold for 100x, right, or something like that, but like to have people be incentivized to perform and bring in the value that the protocol needs to be brought in at specific phases of its
Mm-hmm.
growth, right? So yeah, today you might need more, you know, liquidity providers. Tomorrow, you know, whatever it is that, you know, your project does, you might need like more focus on some other action activity. So
Mm-hmm.
this is where you could kind of use these streams of revenue to really like put incentives on people, right? And like really define them very well. Like if you think about
Really
it right
cool.
now, there's value around the creator awards that everyone has set up as their recipient wallet is just not defined. What the tokenizer does, it defines that value by, you know, minting you the 100 tokens that now represent that claiming right value for
Right.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot more versatile, for sure, for sure. This is cool. I definitely have a greater understanding, um, of some of the possibilities with using what the fees generated to be able to do more than just have it sit and be collected, by having it tokenized and being able to put that in different areas to incentivize more people to come over, or to incentivize making impactful um, actions towards X, Y, or Z. Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
very cool. I'm gonna just see if anybody in the chat was asking anything. Elbow says, really impressed, Nodar. I'm with Jose, confused but intrigued. Sounds complex, but it's not different than other stuff I've done in the past. Looking forward to digging in more deeply. Cool. Yeah, awesome. You made it, Elbow. Yeah, definitely music to wrap up, Jose. And yeah, Jose was saying
Oh yeah.
thanks. Yeah, people were definitely here for the whole time, and talking about it, and asking for links, and of course dropping gifts and making jokes, and all the stuff that we do here. So I'd say super successful, and definitely appreciate you coming and sharing your time with us. It was definitely insightful and valuable for me, and I think for the group that was watching here. And in case anybody catches it out there, on YouTube or on X, over in house, feel free to just reach out on Farcaster or on the platform you are on, and get more involved.
For sure, man. Thanks a lot. And Joseph, really, really enjoyed your songs, man. I honestly did not expect this coming in, but I really love your attitude on life and your songs.
Yeah,
He's about to
Cypher
play us
Amis
out.
balance. Keep away from
Yeah.
FOMO and hold the vibe. And I'm here with Vanessa. and we are going to share a song. You might know it. Let's see. Um, and yeah, hi Vanessa.
Hello,
Hola.
guys.
Hey,
How are you?
doing good. Stoked you're here with us.
Yeah, happy to be here, even when it's bittersweet what we are experiencing over here. But yeah, we just have to keep our spirits up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very contradictory what we're living. We want to do a song that basically applies to everyone involved in this. I mean, every side.
A bird has two wings.
Come, you masters of war. You the build the big guns. You the build the dead planes. You the build all the bombs. You the hide behind walls. You the hide behind desks. I just want you to know I can see through your mess. You that never done nothing but build to destroy. And you play with my world like it's your little toy. You put a gun in my hand and you hide from my eyes. And you turn and run farther when the fast bullets fly. Like Judas of old, you lie and deceive. Our war can be won. You want me to believe, but I see through your eyes, and I see through your brain, like I see through the water that runs down my drain. You fasten all the triggers for the others to fire. Then you sit back and watch when the death count gets higher. And you hide in your mansion while the young people's blood flows out of their bodies and is buried in the mud. You've thrown the worst fear that can never be hurled. Fear to bring children into the world, for threatening my baby, unborn and unnamed. You ain't worth the blood that runs in your veins. How much do I know to talk out of turn? You may say that I'm young. You one thing I know, though I'm younger than you, that even Jesus would never forget what you do. Let me ask you one question. Is your money that good? Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? I think you will find when your death takes its toll, all the money you make will never buy back your soul. And I hope that you're gone, and your death will come soon, and I'll follow your casket by the pale afternoon, and I'll watch while you're lowered down to your deathbed, and I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead.
Woo! Very powerful, amazing. Thank you for that. And
Bob Dylan.
sending, yeah, that's a classic. Definitely sending, positive vibes down to you guys and just generally to the world and Venezuela and Ukraine. And yeah, we need to give people the tools to live, successful and peaceful lives. Hopefully, that's what we can kind of strive for, making impact in a positive way.
Oh my God, I'm so happy that we had a guest from Ukraine today. That was like, what? What is happening today? You see?
I didn't know that either. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good surprise for me. Nodar, I did have one question that Penguin slid in like right after it was kind of didn't want to interrupt, the music was about to start, but he asked, I want to use it, but not using Clanker. Are there docs on how to use it without necessarily going through Clanker?
So you mean not deploying your token through Clanker?
Yeah, like maybe either with an already existing token.
Yeah, so for now, yeah, that's exactly what we're working towards. But right now, it's available to, if you want to clank a new token through Clanker with built-in tokenized fees, or if you have an existing token that you deployed on Clanker from version 3.1 and over. So like 3.1 or V4, right? So if you made it clink the token, say like before this brand new version in 3.1, kind of like what a bunch of projects did, like Betterment, you can just come in and essentially tokenize existing token, paste in your token contract in there, and then your fees will essentially pop up. And what you're going to do is you'll reassign the recipient from what you have now to the vault that you'll deploy, and then mint yourself those tokens. And so essentially for you as somebody with an existing token from Clanker, nothing.
Or not from Clanker, I think was the.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's what I'm saying. Right now it's only available for Clanker,
Right.
around Clanker. But we will very soon launch it for any ERC20 token, right? So like if you have a token and you want to set up, like I said, like a Clanker style LP, or launch it from the beginning, or if you have I think what a lot of it is, like you kind of what you asked is like if you have an existing token that hasn't been launched on Clanker that you want to essentially power charge, right, with this.
Right.
That's exactly what we want to do. Yeah, exactly. So
right.
Stand by on those. This is definitely a lot of things cooking up, but we are going to continue relentlessly shipping because it's definitely something that's pretty exciting, and we'll build out this whole suite of tools for for builders, which I think will find useful, hopefully.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, that's good news. We got a thank you in the chat there too. So yeah, keep building, doing what you're doing.
I think it
Obviously,
really comes down to like the first project that will really utilize these in a smart way to incentivize the right actions to really make their
mhm,
project go viral, right? Like so, you know, yes, you are essentially sharing some of your creator fees, but if sharing a portion of your creator fees means getting a ton more volume and a ton more exposure and a much bigger market cap, then I think it's a sacrifice that's totally worth it. Especially
yeah,
it's a self-perpetuating sacrifice that essentially is not really a sacrifice. It's just a new way for you to incentivize a much bigger activity around you.
yeah. Well, so me and Jose have been doing these impact concerts for years, but really last year was the first year we focused and got like, not quite, but almost one per month. And generally they're around a quadratic funding, round for like Giveth or Gitcoin or
Launches of
blanking
amazing
artisan.
projects, launches of
And
amazing projects, and fractal education.
yeah. So we bring on, maybe vetted public good social impact projects to speak, but we put live music in between each speaker, and then the idea is sort of to to entertain, to educate, to make some impact. People are making smaller donations maybe to the project they connect with. And then, that, especially when there's quadratic funding rounds running, can turn into a lot more. So I'm thinking maybe we need to clank a token for the impact concerts that we can give some of that secondary basically token that is the trading fees to people that are active or donating at impact concerts. So all this is just sort of running through my head after listening to you
Exactly.
speak.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very good. Very, very good. I'm glad you're thinking this way. It's exactly what I want kind of more people to think in this way. But yeah,
Nice.
Great.
you're absolutely right. And let me know if you need help. I'd love to
Yeah.
kind of
I'll
set
probably
it
be
up.
hitting you in the
I
DMs
said,
later.
yeah. I said in the chat, I'm confused, but I will be able to talk with Izzy and get it. But if Izzy is also a little confused, let's talk with you again.
For
Nice,
sure.
nice. Awesome. Well, I don't know, Jose, maybe since we got back into talking, one more song to close us out for real this time.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice.
An original one.
Ya lo ves, paraíso es lo que tienes acá, pero que no lo ves. Ya lo ves, el paraíso es lo que tienes acá, pero que no lo ves. Ya lo ves, el paraíso es lo que tienes acá, pero que no lo ves. Baila así, te puedes divertir, de eso se trata él. Buenate de vivir, buenate de vivir, buenate de vivir, buenate de vivir. Luz y oscuridad aquí se llevan bien, centrado suyo imaginarse en el poder que acabará. Ay, volviéndose agua y sal, ceniza sedienta de virtud y de crear pura ficción. Sí, hecha de cartón, se rompe en su pared con la pura vibración. Ya lo ves, el paraíso es lo que tienes acá, pero que no lo ves. Baila así, te puedes divertir, de eso se trata el buen arte de vivir. Ya lo ves, el paraíso es lo que tienes acá, pero que no lo ves. Baila así, te puedes divertir, de eso se trata el buen arte de vivir. Nuevo amanecer, al fin
gasolina pa' todita la ciudad que se hizo fuego y empezó a quemar. En caso de incendio ya no hay nada que quebrar, pues ya estalló. Sí, su erupción como un volcán lleno de nieve. Ya lo ves, el paraíso es lo que vienes acá, pero que no lo ves. Baila así, te puedes divertir, de eso se trata él. Buénate de vivir, buénate de vivir, buénate de vivir, buénate de vivir.
Woo!
The art of living.
Epic. Absolutely beautiful. Uh, just epic show. Absolutely epic. Nodes, Nodar, thank you. If you ever want to look at the live chat in the Discord here, there was a bunch of comments, plenty of gifts and stuff like that. If you want to take a quick look after the show or something, you might get a laugh. But just appreciate everybody that came, and definitely check out this amazing technology and tools. And great way to wind up a Monday with these amazing musical vibes from Jose and Vanessa. Thank you guys for that performance. We'll see you out in these streets, and yeah, the usual. Stay away from FOMO, hold the vibes, stay safe, and maybe catch y'all on the Friday speakeasy, either on House or Fireside or something like that. Yeah, I think that's it for the show. Woo!
Thank you, man. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Love and Whipsy.
Peace, love, and
See ya.
Whipsy. Yes. See ya.
See ya, guys.
Adiwa.
Adiwa, mi pan.